So DM stands for demographics. So, so in the demographics side, we will have only one record per subject. That's it, not more than that. One record per subject. That's the only thing we will be having. Demographics means one record per subject. So let's see the difference now. Yesterday, due to the disturbance, I'm giving clear information to you step by step. Okay, look at here from the beginning. So in the DM domain, there are total 30 variables are there. Very simple. So these 30 variables compulsory you should have an idea. Every variable you should have an idea. So what the variable will be what the variable will do and what is the main importance of the variable. So how the raw data in the raw data it will be there. What you need to do with the variable. So that's what I'm explaining to you in a detailed way. Let's see the process. So first variable. So generally you will be having a study. STUDY study. So study means I told you right, something like a dia 3, 6, 9, 12. That is nothing but it is like diabetic study. So in the raw variable, this is what we call, I'm making a difference completely. It's a raw data. So in the raw data, what happened? The study variable will be named as some. In this way, you will be having the study. By seeing the study, at least we can understand completely. So that is what exactly. So study ID. The next variable is that another variable will be named as site ID. So site ID is nothing but in which site this entire study was conducted. Diabetic study was conducted. Then coming to the next one, again, there is another variable with the name called investigator ID. That means for this particular site. Site means like center. Like generally they will conduct the clinical trials in like what do you say that in different places, Lucknow, Mumbai, etc. Every particular center will have a site ID. And for every site, there will be an investigator ID. Investigator means doctor in the clinical trial. So investigator will be there. So investigator also the same thing 001 is there. Let us take an example. And the next one, there is one more variable with the name called patient ID. So patient ID. So what is this patient ID? Patient ID is 001. So like in this way, in the raw data, you will be having the variables. So now in the SDTM point number, what you need to do? So this study will be named as some study ID. So this is what. So the study ID will be mentioned as dia. So dia 3, 6, 9, 12. So what is there exactly? Same values you're populating, but the variable name should be changed to study ID. That is what exactly what you need to do. In the SAS, how you will do that we'll see in the programmatic ways, not now. Just only raw data, how it is there, and what you need to do, I'm saying. But in order to do that, practically, that we'll see in the next upcoming classes, not now. Programmatically, we'll see, not now. Okay? Now, using the SAS, we'll do that techniques. Next one. Coming to the next one, site ID will be named as a site ID only. And make sure that every variable should be in the capital letter completely. So site ID will be named as some site 001. And there is another variable with the name called patient ID. Patient ID will be named as SUBJ ID, subject ID. So that means in the raw data, you will be calling as a patient ID. But when you come to the SDTM standard, so I will be calling as a subject ID. Subject ID means subject identifier. Okay. Now, so this variable you need to convert in this way. And for that, you will be applying the 001. So how you will convert these variables into this particular standard, that we'll see in the programmatic as later on. Now, there is another variable with the name called USUBJID. U subject ID means unique subject identifier. So that means what you're trying to do over here, unique subject identifier. So unique means duplicate records will not be there. Okay, that is the advantage for us. In order to eliminate the duplicate records, we are implementing the U subject ID. Now, so what is the for the U subject ID? There is a formula is there. What is the formula? Study ID dash site ID dash patient ID. So by using these three variables, what we can do now? We need to combine the variable. We need to concatenate the variables. Okay. So finally, we need to bring. So how the values you are going to get it? Dia 36912 dash 001 dash patient ID 001. In this way, you will be getting the information. Another formula also is there. Another formula. Study ID dash site ID dash investigator ID dash and the patient ID. So what is the formula for this one again? So now when this investigator ID will come, remember, if the site ID and the investigator ID both are same, never and ever you should not take the investigator ID. It is impossible. But when the site ID and investigator ID is same, so then at the time what happens, you can take only the site ID only. So that is the reason, go to the raw data, check the raw data properly. Your site ID and investigator ID both are same or different. That you should check. So based on that, you need to apply the formula. And even though there is no problem for you, in the spec also, they will be saying to you, hey, you take the study ID, site ID, investigator ID, patient ID. They will be giving the formula. Just you need to concatenate. Okay. So this is what the formula of the use subject ID. So then again, dia 36912 dash site ID 001, investigator ID 00, some 009, some patient ID that is 001. So like in this way, it will be get created. So this is what we call the use subject ID, unique subject identifier. So there is another variable with the name called country. So this is another variable with the name called country. So in the raw data, sometimes what happens, the patient will have the name called United States of America will be there. Of America will be there. So what you need to do now, you need to make a shortcut as USA. So where you will do, this is the raw data, you can't do there. So for what purpose you are doing, you need to create some spec oriented data. So that means what the spec says that do one thing, create a country only in the capital letter, and then you don't take the same value, United States of America, you convert to USA only. And that too, they will be saying IS 3166 format. Generally in the SAS, we will have MMDDYY, DDMMYY, date 9 dot, date time, etc. We will be having, right? Similarly, in the same way, to create the country codes, we will have a format called IS 3166 format. So that is a specialty. So finally, we need to change this one in this particular. So if any requirement which comes, suddenly you should get an idea. This fellow has to ask IS 316 format, right? How that sometimes what happens, in the raw data, USA only will be there. No need to do anything. No need to apply the format. No need to apply the format in the raw data. Suppose this United States of America is not there, USA only is there. Then why you need to apply this IS? Nothing else. Same variable you will copy and you will take it over here. That's it. Nothing on that. You will not do anything. But if the value is defined in this way, then compulsory you need to convert it. You need to apply a standard format for that. So this is the first step. So that means for this, in order to do all the process, we need to have the SAS skill. And again, we'll do the programming. SAS again will touch in the programming point of view. Learning SAS is different. In the clinical also, we'll do the SAS programming. These all the techniques we'll see in the programming point of view. Again, there also we'll see. Then at that time, the people who completed the SAS, then they will come to know, for this particular technique, okay, from here they were using that concept. Because beginning, once they completed the SAS, or they're able to complete the SAS, they doesn't know where to apply. But by seeing this spec related information, when they are writing the code, then at the time they will realize, okay, this chapter was taking out for this particular point of movement. So they will get an idea. Okay. Anyway, next one, another scenario. So there are some more variables are there with the name called RF. So first one, consent DT. Again, the same thing, raw data again. This is rule number 2. Rule number 2. In the rule number 2, so there are some variables are there. What are the variables? One we call it the consent DT. CONSDT. SDT. Consent date. So in the consent date, what happens, So there is a variable with the name called something like somewhat 01 some January 2020. That means they given the consent date in this way. And followed by colon 00, colon 00, colon 00. That means they have given the date and time in the consent date. So that is what they given. And that too, this variable purely belongs to numeric, completely numeric type variable. This is numeric variable. Okay. Now, when the requirement comes, what you need to do? So this consent date is there, right? The consent date, what you need to do? You need to create as RF, IC, DTC. RF means reference. IC, informed consent. DTC means every time you will be calling the date in character. In the SDTM, maximum 99%, maximum dates will be in the character only in the SDTM. In the Adam, max variables will be in the numerics point of view. Okay, now look at it. So as of now, we are discussing about the SDTM. So this consent date we are creating in the RFIC DTC. So now the name we need, that means we should not call in the SDTM consent date. We should call as reference informed consent date. Okay, now what we need to do now? What will be the requirement? They will be saying in such a way, if the hours, minutes, seconds is not there, if the hours, minutes, seconds is not there, then why can't you take only the consent date only the date only? So that is the reason what you need to do. So you should take only the first year. Next month, January will be converted into 01. Then after that 01 you need to convert. So that means total date and time, you should extract only the date only. So for that, what are you trying to do? We are using the date part. So by using the date part, we are extracting only the date only. And that too, this variable should be in the character. And that too, it should be IS8601 DA format. Why? What do you mean by IS8601 format means? Generally, IS8601 means first year should come, next month should come, and the next day should come. Okay, please put your video. Okay, next one. So this is what we call as a reference informed consent date. Next one. So again, sometimes what happens, I told you, right? Consent date we know. Now we understood what is consent date. For the first time when the patient enter into the clinical trial, I am ready for the clinical trial. Willingly, I want to participate in the clinical trial. You will sign the signature and you will write on the date. So that date is nothing but consent date. And the next variable is that we will be naming as some reconsent date. Another variable with the name called reconsent date. RECONSDT. This is a variable. What is this variable reconsent date? Out of 100 subjects are there, for example, 2 subjects or 1 subject or 3 subjects. Suddenly, due to some emergency, they left away from the study. They discontinued from the study. They wanted to move from there. Then after 1 week, again, they came back. Then said that, sir, I would like to continue the trial. So then at the time, what happens, they cannot eliminate it because they done all the screening, like in the screening only they collected the consent sum, and then that patients are less for this particular study. So compulsory they need to suppose it. Then at the time, what happens, they will be using the reconsent form. Again, reconsent. Already this person is having the consent form. Then again, the same form cannot be given because already it was registered and it was enrolled. So that is the reason they will be giving a reconsent form again. But when they're giving the reconsent form, what happens, 01, not 01, 07 January, that is 2020. So exactly January 2020. So again 00, again 00, again 00. So that means the reconsent date was done on 7th January 2020 by 1 patient. So this is now the point is that now here the interesting fact is that consent date we are loading into the SDTM that we know exactly. So this is raw data, this is the raw data, and this is SDTM, and this is SDTM. So raw data consent date we are storing into the RFIC DTC. That is okay. And the reconsent date is there, right? The reconsent date. So where should we store this one? Again, should I store in the SDTM DM only? No, it is highly impossible. You cannot load the variable of reconsent date into the SDTM DM domain. So for that, what you need to do, you need to create a variable with the name called RCCDT. That is nothing but reconsent date. So that is what exactly what you need to do. So reconsent date you need to specify same RCCDTC. So here what you need to do, very simple. 7th January 2020 is there, right? 2020 dash January 01 dash, then again 07. So in this way you need to populate. And again you should take the same date part only. See, date part only should take. And then after that again it should be in the character. Then after that again it should be in the IS 8601 DA dot. But remember, this RCC date will never populate into the SDTM domain. So where it will go? It will move to the supplementary domain. Supplementary domain means extra information. DM, main parent domain, main variable. It's like in our family, father, mother, brother, sister, okay, grandfather, grandmother will be there, right? So that is what the parent domain. Then relatives will be there. It's an extra, but they are important to us, but we cannot exclude, but we will be placing some other place. So here also the same thing. Reconsent date is a extra information. So this variable compulsory you should load into the supplementary domain. Any extra information which has to be loaded into the supplementary domain. And this is the concept. Next scenario. So this is what the reconsent date. Next one, very important variable. Next variable, rule number 3. Rule number 3. So in the rule number 3, so now what happens now? Again, we'll take the raw data. Raw data. Okay, very interesting one and very, very important. Star mark I am giving for this. Raw data, and this one will be named as the SDTM. Okay, how the raw data will be provided? What you need to do? Very simple. I'm going to tell you. So this variable will be named as treatment SDT. So this is a variable is a treatment start date. Another variable is there with the name called treatment end date. Okay, like in this way it is there. Let us take an example. So this is what we call the treatment start date, treatment end date. STDT and treatment end date is there, like in this way. What is this exactly? Let us take it. There is a patient ID is there here. Patient ID is there. Okay, there is. So patient ID is there, and there is a treatment start date, treatment end date is there. Now the interesting point is that so patient ID is 101. When the subject has to start the treatment 15th January 2020. Oh, fine. So that means after 15 days, so that means after signing the inform, that means 15 days they given the time. After that, they can start up the treatment. They given the time exactly. You need to start the treatment on 15th January 2020. Okay, fine. Remember, in the data, you will have only one record only, because this investigator is not mentioning when the subject has to start, like how many times the subject has to start the treatment. One time I will say. Yesterday I also told you the same concept again. Triple R movie has launched at 25th exactly. So that means that is an official announcement. I given a period of time. That means you need to go and you need to watch the movie 25th. Maybe Shruti or maybe Renuka or some other person like some Rahul, they went on 25th only because he is diverted fines. So they went on 25th only. So that means what happened now? Treatment date is exactly like treatment date is there, and another variable also will be there. That is nothing but we call it as a treatment XSTDT is there. Like this is a variable. Okay, now this what is this one exactly? Now, so look at the difference between these two. 15th January, like let us assume this treatment started is nothing but triple R. 15th January 2020 need to start up the treatment. Exactly the same 101 patient has went on 15th January 2020. Assume, okay? He went on exactly. But remember, when he started watching the movie or when he started taking the treatment, compulsory they will write on the time also. That is important. Because there they cannot say when you need to go, at what time you need to go, but they will schedule the time, they will schedule the date only. Exactly 15th January 2020, you need to go and take the treatment. That's it. So that is what we call it a like so. And coming to the next one, treatment X means study drug. That means the study drug is nothing but 15th January 2020. He was taken the exact study drug. That means some formoterol or BDP DPI or some CHF1535, okay, or some what do you say that XYZ drug year, etc. Whatever, so many drugs are there. So that means they have taken some treatment completely on that particular scenario. So now what happened exactly 15th January? But the interesting fact is that in the raw data, officially you need to take the treatment on 15th January. But when you come to this particular data, what happens, the same patient 101, 15th January, he has taken the treatment. 20 February 2020-12-09-07. 20th February also, he has taken the treatment. 101 patient. Then again, 23rd March 2020, 11-05-007. So that means 23rd March also he has taken the treatment. Like in this way, he has taken total 3 treatments. But officially he was announced on 15th January. But he was taking the treatment for 3 times. 3 times he has taken the treatment. Okay? Because suppose 120 mg is there. 120 mg was taken on 15th January. 120 mg was taken on 20th February. 120 mg was taken on 23rd March also. That means 3 months, every month he has taken the treatment of 120 mg. Can you imagine? So this is what the treatment has started. Okay. Now what you need to do, in the SDTM, you will be calling as the patient ID as subject ID. I told you, right, in the SDTM, 1 record per subject. So what you need to do, in the subject ID, first 101 will come commonly. 101. Now coming to this one, now treatment start date will be named as RF-ST-DTC. Reference start date. Okay, that means when the subject has taken the reference, when the subject has to start the reference of taking the treatment. So that is nothing but exactly on 2020-01-15th, you need to start up the treatment. Now the point is that now when you come to the RF-ST-DTC, you will be calling. This is the name you will be calling. RF-ST-DTC is nothing but first study drug treatment date or first study treatment taken date, you will be calling. So when the subject has taken the treatment, 3 times he has taken the treatment. No, if you come to the DM domain, 1 record only should show. Even though 3 records are there, 3 times he has taken the treatment, 5 times, 8 times, 10 times. But it should show 1 record in the SDTM. That is the main purpose. Compared with the raw data and SDTM. So what you need to do, in the treatment X start data, you need to pick up the first date. First date you need to pick up. So that's what that date you need to pick over here. So now what happened in the RF-ST-DTC? 15th. So that means 2020-01-January 15th colon, time also should come. 10:09 then 08 should come. So this is the main importance of the RF-ST-DTC, RF-ST-DTC. RF-ST-DTC is nothing but just only the reference date. That's it. So that is the reason this date commonly will be same. But majorly difference is that if the time is there, then time compulsory will be added. But some cases, what happens, time will not be there. No problem. So at what time they referred, on that particular date only, you have taken the treatment. Simple. Sometimes the day
Sir,
also.
one question, sir.
Yeah.
These two, TRT SDDDT and RF SDDTC, both both look same, right?
Both are same, but now this is a treatment taken date.
No, not this one, sir. The two on the left hand side.
Two?
The two on the left, RF SDDTC, and the one above, TRT SDDDT.
Okay.
They both look the same, right? One is the treatment start date, another is reference start date, right?
The same only, but you should convert. You should convert into ISO format. That's what you need to do it.
Or just the ISO format is
just only you need to convert. That's it. Same date only will convert.
Okay,
or you should convert into the character, because this will be always numeric only. Again, same numeric will be there, followed by numeric, and then you should convert this numeric to character. And then after that, you need not to apply any date part to extract the date. Only date only is there. So then at the time, what you will do? You'll apply IS8601D8 dot. You should apply. That's it. Same date only, but you should put in a
Format
standard
is the
format.
difference.
Now you need to put in a standard format. That is what you need to do.
Thank you.
Now coming to the next one, in the RF access DTC, what happens, little bit change will be there. So here also the variable will be numeric only. The variable will be numeric only. But what happens, this variable should convert into the character, but here date and time is there, right? So further, what you need to do, IS8601 DT dot. DT dot means date and time. DA dot means only date. So in this way you need to populate. So this is the exact scenario of the RF STDTC, RF access DTC. So simply raw data lo meeku ila iste meer ila create cheyali. So that is a different. That is what you are working in the company. This is one requirement. So in the raw data, you need to check how many records are there, one patient. Okay. Oh, the subject has taken this many times a treatment. Okay. So how do we pick the first record into the SAS? So how do we create the variable? How to pick? So no need to worry at all. We'll see in the programming way. So all the things, whatever I say, we'll see in the programming. I'll create the program and I will show to you all the things. So this is what we call the RF STDTC and RF XSDTC. Now let's see another example again. There is another variable also there, TRT ENDT, that is treatment ended. So that means if the subject has said that when the subject has to take the treatment, at the same time the investigator also say when the treatment has to be ended. So that is the reason what happened now. Here it will be named as, so that is something around some 12th December 2020. That's it. So in this way, it was mentioned.
So we're calling them numeric, but January we are writing it with letters, right? With characters, right?
It will take by applying this format. It will take. You need to convert for this. You will use some functions. I'll show you that.
I think you didn't get my question.
Yeah,
Yeah, we are calling it as a numeric variable, right? TRT STD but January we have written with words, right? With characters. Is that okay? The one above, sir. Yes. But January.
This is date and time.
Yeah, but that's a numeric variable. We are
no problem. It will read. Yes, it will read.
Okay.
Even though it is a character, it will read. Date will read. Okay. Right. Next. So now let's see the process. So in the numeric, there is a TRT XTT is there, and there is a TRT XSTT. That is a treatment started is there. So similarly, same formula we'll apply for the ended date also. Same technique, same thing. So let's see the process. So treatment ended is at 12th December 2020. So you will be naming as what? RF what? RF ENDTC. Same. Treatment end date will be named as RF ENDTC. Reference end date. RF every time reference. ST start. EN end. DTC means date, time with the character. Date, time with character. So wherever you see the SDTM variables, you will have DTC compulsory. So reference, start date, reference, end date, like in that way. Now there is a treatment end date is there. 12th December. So how do you define now this one? 2020 dash 12th dash 12. So in this way, you need to populate the value. So just simple flip, you need to flip the value. Then coming to the next one, that is a numeric variable. Again, this numeric variable, what you need to do? You need to convert into the character. Again, what should I do? I should apply only IS8601 DA dot. So this is a technique, what you need to do. Then coming to the next one, this is when the subject has to start up the treatment, when the subject has to end the treatment. And when the subject has taken the treatment, how many times he has taken the treatment? This many times he has taken the treatment. But when you come to the SDTM, you need to just to get the first treatment taken date. Then coming to the next one, the same thing, you will be having the end date also. TRT XENDT. So XENDT. Okay. So what is this one exactly? Same date will be there. Okay. Now there is one interesting bouncing concept. Pro point. Sometimes 20th February is there, right? Is there copy. So this 20th February, sometimes it will be extended to 25th also. So that means there is a time gap, date gap also will be there sometimes. No problem, don't worry at all. We need not to care about it. And coming to the next one again, 23rd March, same only. So, okay, in this way, the data is there. Let us assume. Same is there, it's okay, happy. But what I'm saying, sometimes the date also will be different. Compulsory will be there sometimes. Especially in the cancer related studies, this will affect. 99.99999% it will affect. Okay, dates difference will be there. Start date and end date. That means subject has to taken the treatment on 20th February and he completed the treatment on 25th February. Some gap is there. So that means some gaps will be there, especially in the cancer related studies, or some COVID studies also will be there. So like in this way, the entire process. So further, what you need to do? Now what you need to do? This one also the same numeric only. Same numeric. So again, what I need to do? I need to create the RF XEN DTC. So what is this variable indicates? Now in this entire 3 records, you need to pick up the first record. First record compulsory. You should show only the first record. If it is any date, you should show the last record. If it is a treatment started, you should show the first record. So that is the reason I'm writing. For the RF XS DTC, you should show the first record. First record. Okay, that is first date. Instead of saying first record, because sometimes the data is not sorted, then you will ask me. So that is the first date you should take. That means after sorting, the first date you should take compulsory. And coming to the next one, RFXC NDTC means what you need to issue in this entire records, you should take the last record compulsory. So how the value will be there? 2020 dash March 03 dash 23. Again, no colon, no time. Actually, what happens, in the treatment ended, maximum cases, you won't have the time. You won't have the time. In the treatment ended point about, you won't have the time. Maximum. If it is there, then you will take it. If it is not there, you don't take it. But maximum cases, so only the date only will be there. Time will not be there. Okay. And if so, even though if the time is not there, but it will indicate with the 00, 00, 00, 00. So in the same way, 00, then again 00, then again 00. Sometimes it will be there. Sometimes even that one also will not be there. So then again, what you need to do? So you should pick only the date part only. For that, again, you should convert to the character, and then you should apply the DTR DA IS8601 DA dot you should apply. So then after that, you need to apply the last sort and take the last date. That is important. So this is the main important concept. Okay, compulsory. Remember. Okay. Chalo. Let's see another technique on this one. So be careful. Why I'm saying all the things? Because even non-background person also, if you see this properly, first, your main thing is that understanding the concept. Second thing is that understanding the data. You need to look the data in such a way, at any cost, you should not miss any value in your mind. Take one record only. Don't take all the records in the raw data. Take 101 patient, or take 001 patient, or take 1001 patient, any one patient you take. Then observe the data carefully. When this fellow has signed the informed consent, when this particular patient was started the treatment, and when he has taken the study drug actually, how many times he has taken? Okay, you need to check. That is the way you need to check. Then after that, once you understand that data, then you will go to the spec. What this fellow is asking. Okay, fine. This is the work. So then based on that, you will write the code. Very simple. So this is the way of defining the techniques completely. Now let's see another.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah. Tell me.
Sir, if in treatment XCNDT, if time is mentioned, then even in SDTM, we have to mention time in
Time,
RF
compulsory.
XCNDT.
If the time is mentioned, you should mention the time. If the time is not mentioned, you should take only the date part only.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Next one.
సార్ ఇక్కడ ఇప్పుడు ఫస్ట్ ఇన్ఫార్మ్ కన్సెంట్ ఫామ్ ఇస్తారా లేకపోతే ర్యాండమైజేషన్ ఫస్ట్ అవుతుందా?
ఎప్పుడైనా గుర్తుంచుకో, it's not like other people don't confuse. She was asking some other like other point. Randomization means it will never falls into the SDTM. It will go to the supplementary domain. Okay, it will go to the supplementary domain. It will not come to the main in the SDTM. It will not come. It will go to the randomization date. Always will fall into the supplementary domain. Okay, now clear?
ఓకే బట్ ఫస్ట్ ఏమైతుంది సార్ అంటే ఫస్ట్ పేషెంట్స్ ర్యాండమైజ్ అవుతారా లేకపోతే వాళ్ళకి ఫార్మ్స్ ఫస్ట్ ఇస్తారా?
I think what happens, I'll show you simple for your doubt. I will explain this one. Look at this. Generally, what happens, how the process will be there. Look at all the people. First screening they will do. Then after that they will go for the treatment. Roughly, I'm saying. Then I will elaborate. Okay, in order to understand the doubt of her. Okay, screening after, treatment after, then they will go for the follow-up. So sometimes what happens, they do the extension also. Extension also they will do. Okay, so that means what do you mean that exactly? First screening they will conduct. This is a process. Okay, screening, what they will do the physical examination. Physically they will examine the candidates. Then they will collect some medical history. Then they will collect some laboratory. Then they will collect some demographics information. Then they will collect some questionnaire information. Some psychiatrist will ask some questions, right? Okay, in the same way. And they will collect some if there are any adverse events are there or not, some headache, vomiting, okay, etc. And they will collect some concurrent medications. Like in this way, in the screening point of mode, they will be collecting some information in the screening. Let us assume. So these are the information which has been collected in the screening point of mode. Okay. So then after that, in the screening only, the consent form will come. That means informed consent also will comes in the screening only. So once the informed consent is done, what happens now? Then the subject has to be randomized. Randomized ante assigning the subject to the treatment groups. That means what do you mean that exactly? When the subjects was assigned to the treatment groups. Treatment groups means like drug A, drug B, okay, some active, some placebo, or some CHF 1535, formular DPI. That is what we call it. So when the subject was assigned. So that means the subject was assigned on randomization date will be there. Now let's take an example. So screening process was done after the randomization. So what do you mean by randomization over here? Randomization means assigning the subject to the treatment groups. Okay. Now, suppose randomization, for example, consent date has to start on January 1st, 01 January. And when the randomization means once the subject sign the informed consent, then some randomly they will take some subjects and they will assign the treatment group. Suppose 100 patients are there. Okay, for you, drug A I will be giving. Some of the patients I will be giving the drug B. Like in that way, I will assign the subject to the treatment groups. That is what we call the randomization. So when on which date it was assigned? So that was assigned on some 06, some January, sometime. So then what happens, so this is what we call as a randomization date. Sometimes the randomization date and the treatment date will be the same only. That means on which day they randomized, on that day only they need, like on which day they need to start up the like randomized. Then they will, once the subject was randomized, then they're giving the treatment date. So that means on that day compulsory should take the treatment compulsory. So this is a fact. So that means randomization was done on 6th January. And the treatment was need to be started on 15th January, and the treatment should end on something like so and so December 31st or December 20. The treatment should be ended. So this is what we called as a randomization date. This is a randomization date, and this is the treatment start date. Okay, and sometimes what happens, randomization date and the treatment date also will be same. Remember this one. Randomization date and the treatment date also will be same. Then at that time what happens? Only treatment date will be there. Randomization date will not be there. You got my point, right? What I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Remember that. So that is important. So when the randomization date and the treatment date is same, then at the time what happens? This date will not be there. But if it is different, then this date you will capture into the supplementary domain. So that is the main concept.
So do we have a variable for randomization?
Randomization?
For randomization date, do we have a variable?
what are you saying?
For denoting the randomization date, do we have a variable?
Rand date, RAND DT.
Okay.
Okay, right. Okay, anyway, right. అంటే ఏం లేదు మిగతా వాళ్ళకి చెప్తాను.
I have a small doubt. If in the treatment XENDT, you normally said that there won't be any time part will not be given. Mostly it will not be given.
Correct.
So when we write in the we are converting into SDTM, we are going to use the IS 8601 DA part.
Okay, correct.
That formatting. So in case if they are giving the time part, should we use DA or the ISO 8601 DT?
If they're given the time, then you should use IS 8601 DT dot you should use.
Oh,
Or else
okay.
you can use another one also. I'm giving another technique also for this one. E8601 DT dot also you can apply. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So now, so this is the main, so one important concept. Next one.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Again, randomization date, nothing but planned date, planned treatment.
Planned one, just a planned one.
Yes, treatment, nothing but actual date, right?
ఇది యాక్చువల్ అవుతుంది, ఇది ప్లాన్డ్ అవుతుంది, ఇది ప్లాన్డ్ అవుతుంది.
Okay, okay. In future, we have to give like that only, right?
ఇది యాక్చువల్ అవుతుంది.
Plan treatment, actual treatment.
సో నేను అందుకే అనేది ర్యాండమైజేషన్ డేట్ డిఫరెంట్ గా ఉండి ప్లాన్డ్ సపరేట్ గా ఉంటే, అంటే రెండు సేమ్ ఉంటే ర్యాండమైజేషన్ డేట్ రాకుండా ఓన్లీ ఈ డేట్ ఒక్కటే పాపులేట్ అవుతుంది. అదే ర్యాండమైజేషన్ డేట్ కనుక ఉండి, అదే ర్యాండమైజేషన్ డేట్ కనుక ఉందనుకో, అంటే డేట్ డిఫరెన్స్ ఉందనుకో, అప్పుడు ఏమవుతుందంటే ఇదే డేట్ ఇక్కడ పాపులేట్ అవుతుంది, అంతే, ఏం లేదు, చాలా సింపుల్. యూ గాట్ మై పాయింట్, రైట్? వాట్ ఐఎమ్ సేయింగ్.
Yes, got it.
ఇప్పుడు మళ్ళొకసారి చూడు, ర్యాండమైజేషన్ డేట్ ఉందనుకో, లైక్ ఇఫ్ ద ర్యాండమైజేషన్ డేట్ ఈస్ దేర్, అంటే ర్యాండమ్ గా అసైన్ చేస్తారు వాళ్ళు. ఎప్పుడు అసైన్ చేస్తారు? సమ్ 12th నాడు, 12th జనవరికి అసైన్ చేస్తారు అనుకో. సో 12th జనవరి దే అసైన్డ్. ఓకే, 12th జనవరి దే అసైన్డ్ ది సబ్జెక్ట్ టు ద ట్రీట్మెంట్ గ్రూప్స్. అంటే వీళ్ళకి డ్రగ్ ఏ, ఫర్ దిస్ పర్టికులర్ పేషెంట్ డ్రగ్ బి, దే వర్ అసైన్డ్. దట్ ఈస్ ర్యాండమైజేషన్ డేట్. సో వెన్ ద ర్యాండమైజేషన్ డేట్ ఈస్ దేర్, your treatment, whatever the date is there, that date and this date will be the same. Remember. Now, another scenario. Suppose if the randomization date and the treatment date, if the both are same, so this date will not be there. And only you will be having this date as a treatment reference start date will be there. That's it. So, ఇది ఉంటే అది రెండు సేమ్ ఉంటే అది ఉండదు. అదే డిఫరెన్స్ ఉంటే this date will be captured over here. And that even if this date is captured over here, we'll be calling as a planned one only. So that means they were given a reference on that day, you need to start up the treatment. Clear? Okay.
Okay.
Next one. Another concept. Rule number 4. So in the rule number 4, there is a variable with the name called death. Death. So death means, like suppose for example in the raw data, so there is a 101 patient will be there, for example. Okay, patient ID is there, patient ID is there, and there is a DT is there, death date is there. 101 subject has not taken the death, 102 subject has taken the death. Okay, suppose for example on some 09-08- something on some 1997 something on the subject has taken the death. Let us assume roughly, or some not exactly, like okay, roughly we'll take some 2000 some 16 etc. He was taken the death, and again 103 patient was not taken the death. Okay, this is simple. Now what you need to do when you come to the SDTM standard, so you need to apply as a subject ID. And this death rate you will be changing as DTH DT. DTH DTC you need to create. And wherever the death rate is there, compulsory should create the death flag also. That is the thing. So what is this one exactly? Subject ID is 101. and the subject has not taken the death rate. So wherever the death rate is not there, so the death flag will be no. And wherever the subject has taken the death, okay, then the death rate will be considered as a 2016 dash some 08 dash. So then again 09. So it will be populated in this way. And wherever the death rate is there, so then what happened now? The death wherever the death rate is there, so then the death flag will be Y. And that's it. So coming to the next one, again 101. So again death rate is not there. Then again the flag will be no. This is one concern. Again we'll go to the same data, raw data. Sometimes again in the raw data, again patient ID will be there. Again I will get back again. Look at here. So patient ID is there. Then again death date is there. DT is there. Okay. So there is a 101 patient is there. And there is a death rate is there. When the death rate is there, some same 09-08-2016 is there. Again the same patient will have another record. Okay. How it is possible? 09-08- that is 2016. So that means one patient is having two death records. Is it possible? Yes. So now this data will be considered as a what happens, you know. So this is the death rate was occurred. This is a death data. So one is a death cause, another is like this is a death, and another is a primary cause of death, and another is cause of death. So like in this way it will be there. So one is primary cause of death, another is cause of death. So that means primary cause of death is nothing but due to some reason he was taken the death, and some cause of death means they will be mentioning some progressive disease under jabbu mudrindi antaru sara. This is the thing. But even though if the two records are there, you should take the latest record only. How do you create this one again if the data is having? So subject ID. So then again death rate will be DTH DTC. So then again what you need to do? 101 subject. Here also should show one record only. That is 2016. Then again dash. Then again 08 dash. Then again 09 you should show like in this way. And then wherever the death rate is there, you should show the death flag only. DTH FL. So then it will be Y. Another case I'm showing, which is very important now. Sometimes what happens, you know, so the same 101 patient, what happens, you know, there will be another record with the name called secondary cause of death, primary cause of death, secondary cause of death, and the secondary death, primary death, secondary death, and again the next one is cause of death 09/08 08 2016 is there. 2000. That means one patient is having three records. This is a cause of death is there. So now there are total three records. Now there is some problem is there. What happens, you know, when the patient has taken the death, it is around 11:55. And again, due to some, first time he got the heart attack, they thought that he was dead. Then after that, due to some miracle, he was alive. Then after 10 to 15 minutes, again he was taken the death. That is consecutive heart failure. So then at the time, what happened? 12 exactly 05 minutes he has taken the secondary death. So then what happens, you know, now here it will become now here also it will become 0:05 will be there. Like in this way, the data will be there. Now here the interesting fact is that in the data, if the patient is having more death records, you should not take the first record, remember. Never and ever you should not take the first record. So what you need to do, you should pick up the last record only, remember. That means the latest record you should take in the death. You should take only the last record only compulsory. So finally what happens, you know, this date will be considered as like in this way. So 2016 08-09 exactly at 12:15. So the subject has a 12:05. The subject has taken the death, like in this way you need to populate. And wherever the death rate is there, compulsory you should populate the death flag. But you should not take the primary cause of death. The primary death you should not take. You should take the latest death, that is secondary. Secondary and cause of death will be same. But primary death, secondary, sometimes the date will be different. When the secondary death is there, compulsory the date will be different. So like here we are taking for treatment started, we are taking the first record. For treatment ended, we are taking the last record. But whereas in the death rate, you should take the latest record. Remember, the latest record will be in this particular format. So this is what we call the death date will be calling. So this is a death relevant data. So again, if there is any death data is there, go there and check the data carefully. How many death records are there for the patient, whether it is a primary cause of death, secondary cause of death. If it is there, then you create the SDTM data set. So in that you create the variable. So then you create the DTH, DTC and DTH FL, create the two variables. And in that you should pick up the latest record and need to populate over here. That is what you need to do. So this is another concept. Okay. Now the last technique, final technique of this. Again, we'll come back over here. Okay. Now, so that randomization actual arm code, ARM NRS, ARM UD, that variables will discuss link together. There we'll see, then at that time we'll get an idea completely. Even if you have some 5 to 10% doubt is that, the doubt will be clarified over there. When I explain the ARM code, actual arm code with the combination of randomization date, then at the time you'll understand. If 5 to 10% gap is there, there is a dynamo is there. Okay, even that one also I'm clearing to you. Next one, you see this one. So the another point is that if you look at this scenario, okay. Now suppose for example, while taking the treatment, okay, there is a treatment started, is the treatment end date is there. He was taking the treatment on 23rd March 2020, and he ended the treatment on 23rd March 2020. Let us assume, okay. Unfortunately, when the treatment is started on 23rd March, okay. Something around some treatment end date is not there. Missing is there. That means the treatment end date is not there for the 101 patient. 23rd March, same date is there, but unfortunately he was discontinued from the study. He was discontinued from the study because we doesn't know, right? 20th February he has taken the treatment. 23rd February he has completed the treatment. 23rd March he has taken the treatment. Then unfortunately, so if this is okay, then happy. But what I'm saying, the same data I will be copying over here to get more understanding. So I'm going to copy this one and I'm going to paste this one. So now what happens, the interesting point is that now unfortunately this date is not there suddenly, and of course for 101 patient the end date is not there. Treatment started is there, but end date is not there. So then at the time what happens, there will be another data set with the name called EOS. Remember, EOS is nothing but end of study, end of study, end of study. So end of study means all the subject to discontinued information which will be available only in this EOS data set. So now what happened now exactly? Now there is a 101 subject is there. So when the subject was discontinued exactly on same, like he was discontinued on, for example, 20, like suppose discontinued means 2015th, okay. We'll take another patient instead of doing this. Okay. For example, 23rd March, he discontinued, right? So treatment ended, treatment started is there. Okay. For example, now there is a US date will be there. In the US date, what happens? There will be date exactly. Okay. So this one will continue tomorrow. We'll see that because other people are waiting. So up to here, again, we'll continue this EOS scenario. So maybe 2 days it will take much time. So tomorrow and after tomorrow, it will get completed DM domain. So the final word I want to say you, because again, still I will save this one. I will continue from here tomorrow. So what I meant to say for everybody, here the concept is that my main theme is that for everybody, when you see the data, you should understand the data. What you need to do, that is secondary. But when you see the data, or a death data, you said, primary, secondary data is available on that. When you see the treatment data, when the subject has taken the treatment, when the subject has ended the treatment, okay, that information you should know. So in the same way, every particular data you see, you should understand the data carefully. So then based on that, if you see the requirement, you'll understand carefully. So then based on that, you can write the program. So, but EOS study is very important. So that we'll see more detailedly. And also RFX P and DTC also is there. That will continue tomorrow. So a couple of variables are there that will finish tomorrow. That's it for today. Thank you.
Sir,
Uh,
one
uh,
small question. So
Tell me.
randomization date as well as the actual,